the power of discipline. Freedom without discipline collapses. Dreams without practice fade. Strength without training withers. The Stoics knew this. Greatness is not built in grand moments, but in daily discipline. Welcome back to Stoic Wellspring, where ancient wisdom reminds us that discipline is not chains, but the path to an unshakable life. Why Stoic discipline matters. This reflection is not about punishment or harsh rules. It is about discipline as the Stoics lived it, a daily practice that shapes character, steadies the mind, and builds strength that no storm can shake. Right now, we'll explore 8 ways the Stoics used discipline, not to limit life, but to free it and to forge a soul unbreakable. Part 1. True Stoic discipline is not about controlling others, but mastering yourself. The first truth of Stoic discipline is this: discipline begins with the self. It is easy to demand order from others, to criticize the crowd, to point out the failures of society. But the Stoics turned their gaze inward. For them, the hardest and most necessary discipline was over one's own mind and actions. Epictetus, once a slave, told his students in the Discourses, "No man is free who is not master of himself." His chains were real, but his spirit was free because he disciplined his desires, his judgments, and his reactions. Freedom was not given to him. He forged it through self-mastery. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself in his meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." His daily discipline was to return, again and again, to this truth: the self is the only true domain of mastery. Seneca, in his letters to Lucilius, warned against blaming fortune for our failings. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. His point was discipline of desire. Riches or poverty lie not in what we own, but in how we govern ourselves. Think of a soldier. His discipline is not first about commanding others, but about controlling his own fear, his hunger, his impulse to flee. Without self-discipline, there is no leadership, no courage, no endurance. The same is true for us all. In modern life, this discipline shows itself in small acts: resisting the lure of endless scrolling, rising early when comfort tempts you to sleep, holding back angry words that would burn bridges. Each small act is self-mastery. Each act builds strength. So practice this. Before seeking to order the world, order yourself. Before seeking to master others, master your own mind. For Stoic discipline begins and ends with the self. Part 2. Stoic discipline begins by mastering thoughts, for thoughts shape life. The second practice of Stoic discipline is this: discipline in thoughts. Every action is born from thought, and every emotion is colored by it. To the Stoics, clarity of mind was the first fortress to guard, for if the fortress of thought falls, all else collapses. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself in his meditations, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." He understood that thoughts are not invisible wisps, they are the paintbrush shaping the soul. Discipline means choosing which colors you allow in. Epictetus told his students in the Discourses, "When you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings, then you will forget your anger." His teaching was not only humility, but discipline. Redirect the mind from blame to self-examination. Seneca once wrote in his letters to Lucilius, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." He was pointing to the undisciplined mind, one that lets fear and fantasy dominate. Discipline, then, is to keep imagination in check, to separate truth from illusion. Imagine a courtroom inside your head. Every thought enters as a witness. Some speak truth, others lie, many exaggerate. Without discipline, you believe them all. With discipline, you test each witness, dismiss the false, and listen only to what is sound. In modern life, this discipline appears when you resist negative self-talk, when you pause before letting judgment harden, when you remind yourself, this is only a thought, not reality. These moments are small victories, but together, they build resilience. So practice this. Each day, watch your thoughts as if they were guests at your table. Welcome the wise. Dismiss the foolish. For the discipline of thoughts is the discipline of life. Part 3. Stoic discipline means desiring wisely, not endlessly. The third practice of Stoic discipline is this: discipline in desires. Most chaos in life comes not from what we lack, but from what we crave. Unchecked desire makes slaves of men. Disciplined desire makes them free. Seneca once wrote in his letters to Lucilius, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Poverty is not a lack of possessions, but a lack of discipline over desire. Marcus Aurelius observed in his meditations, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." His reminder was that happiness does not come from multiplying desires, but from disciplining them. Epictetus, in the Discourses, told his students, "Freedom is not achieved by satisfying desires, but by eliminating them." He knew that each desire fulfilled breeds another. The chain of craving ends only with discipline. Imagine a man at a feast. Food overflows, wine flows, pleasures abound. Without discipline, he eats, drinks, and consumes until sick. With discipline, he takes what is enough and leaves the table stronger, not weaker. In modern life, the feast is endless scrolling, instant purchases, constant entertainment. Each promises satisfaction, but delivers emptiness. Discipline in desires means knowing when to stop, when enough is enough. So practice this. When desire pulls at you, ask, will this make me free, or will it bind me tighter? Choose only what strengthens your freedom. That is Stoic discipline. Part 4. Stoic discipline is proven not in words, but in consistent actions. The fourth practice of Stoic discipline is this: discipline in actions. Thoughts and desires matter, but without disciplined action, they remain shadows. The Stoics measured philosophy not by what one said, but by how one lived. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself in his meditations, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." His discipline was not endless debate, but daily embodiment. Epictetus, in the Discourses, warned his students, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Discipline in action meant living truth so plainly that no words were required. Seneca, in his letters to Lucilius, rebuked those who merely studied but did not live. What use is philosophy if it does not put an end to suffering? For him, philosophy without disciplined action was empty. Imagine a man who speaks of justice but cheats in small things, who praises courage but runs from difficulty, who recites wisdom but lives in indulgence. Without discipline in action, his words betray him. In modern life, this discipline means consistency, showing up to your work when you don't feel like it, keeping promises even when inconvenient, practicing patience when anger tempts you to lash out. Each small act builds trust in others and in yourself. So practice this. Ask not, "What do I believe?" but, "How do I live?" For Stoic discipline is the harmony of thought, desire, and action, proven not in speech, but in life. Part 5. Stoic discipline does not mean suppressing emotions, but governing them with reason. The fifth practice of Stoic discipline is this: discipline in emotions. Too many, Stoicism is misunderstood as the rejection of feeling. But the Stoics did not aim to be stone. They aimed to be steady. The goal was not to kill emotions, but to keep emotions from killing judgment. Seneca, in his letters to Lucilius, wrote, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." His point was that fear is natural, but undisciplined fear multiplies suffering. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself in his meditations, "When you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and consider your own failings. Then you will forget your anger." His practice was to discipline anger by redirecting it into self-examination. Epictetus, in the Discourses, told his students, "It's not events that disturb people, it's their judgments concerning them." Grief, anger, fear, all are shaped by interpretation. Discipline in emotions means disciplining the judgments beneath them. Imagine a fire. Left unchecked, it spreads and consumes. Controlled, it warms and protects. Emotions are like this fire. Without discipline, they burn reason to ash. With discipline, they serve as fuel for wisdom, compassion, and courage. In modern life, this discipline shows itself when you resist the urge to lash out in anger at a comment online. When you pause before letting anxiety spiral from a small problem. When you channel sadness into empathy rather than despair. So practice this. When emotion rises, do not smother it, but govern it. Ask, what judgment is beneath this feeling? Correct the judgment, and the feeling will follow. This is Stoic discipline in emotions. Part 6. Time is life's most precious resource. Stoic discipline means guarding it fiercely. The sixth practice of Stoic discipline is this: discipline in time. Wealth can be regained. Health can sometimes be restored. But time, once lost, is gone forever. The Stoics treated time as the most sacred of possessions. To waste it was not merely careless, it was sinful. Seneca, in his letters to Lucilius, warned, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." His point was sharp. Life feels brief because we squander the hours given to us. Marcus Aurelius echoed the same in his meditations. Do not act as if you had 10,000 years to live. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good. For him, discipline meant urgency. Live as though today mattered. Epictetus, in the Discourses, told his students, "How long will you wait before you demand the best of yourself?" His challenge was a call to discipline. Stop delaying. Begin now. Imagine carrying a bag of gold coins. Each morning, someone hands you 24 coins. At day's end, whatever remains is taken away forever. Would you waste them on trifles? This is your day. This is your time. In modern life, discipline in time means saying no to endless distractions, guarding hours for meaningful work, and carving space for silence and reflection. Without this, days slip into years, and years vanish unnoticed. So practice this. At the start of each day, ask, what is truly worth today's coin of time? Spend it with care, for it cannot be earned back. This is Stoic discipline in time. Part 7. Words are powerful. Stoic discipline means speaking with truth, necessity, and restraint. The seventh practice of Stoic discipline is this: discipline in speech. Words shape reality. They can build or destroy, heal or wound, free or enslave. The Stoics treated speech as a tool to be sharpened, guarded, and used with care. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself in his meditations, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." His discipline was to align speech with virtue. No lies, no flattery, no wasted words. Epictetus, in the Discourses, warned, "Be silent for the most part, or, if you speak, say only what is necessary and in few words." He believed silence itself was discipline, and when words were used, they must be weighty. Seneca, in his letters to Lucilius, criticized idle chatter. "It is a great thing to know the season for speech and the season for silence." His wisdom was that speech must be disciplined by timing, not only content. Imagine a craftsman with a sharp blade. Careless use cuts friend and foe alike. Careful use builds, heals, and protects. Speech is this blade. Without discipline, it destroys. With discipline, it serves. In modern life, discipline in speech means resisting gossip, avoiding needless arguments, and using words to uplift rather than to tear down. A disciplined voice calms chaos. An undisciplined one multiplies it. So practice this. Before speaking, ask 3 questions. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? If the answer is no, let silence speak instead. For Stoic discipline honors not only speech, but silence. Part 8. Stoic discipline becomes real only when practiced daily, not occasionally. The final practice of Stoic discipline is this: discipline in daily practice. Philosophy cannot be occasional. Strength cannot be built in a single day. Freedom is not granted in one victory. The Stoics believed that greatness is forged by small, steady acts repeated every day. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote nightly to examine his thoughts and deeds. When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. His discipline was to renew gratitude and reflection every morning and night. Epictetus, in the Discourses, instructed his students, "Day by day, make it your study to be perfect, each day presenting your life as if it were a soldier's duty." His wisdom was to treat each day as training for the soul. Seneca, in his letters to Lucilius, described his own nightly review. "When the light has been removed and my wife has fallen silent, I examine my entire day and measure my deeds." This practice was his discipline, to account for each day, so none were wasted. Imagine a musician. He does not master his instrument by playing once in a while, but by daily scales, daily practice, daily patience. So too with the soul. Without daily discipline, philosophy is theory. With it, philosophy becomes life. In modern life, this discipline might mean journaling each evening, rising at the same hour each morning, setting aside daily time for reflection, or ending each day by asking, "Did I live by my principles today?" These routines are not chains, they are anchors. So practice this. Choose one small discipline, repeat it daily, and let it shape you. For the Stoics knew that discipline is not built in grand gestures, but in the quiet strength of ordinary days. Pause now. Breathe. Ask yourself, what daily discipline holds me steady? And what neglect leaves me weak? Which small act, repeated each day, could reshape my life if I chose it? In this stillness, imagine discipline not as a chain, but as a path that grows stronger each step you walk. The world will test you again, but discipline, practiced daily, will make you unshakable. 8 practices. 8 disciplines that turn philosophy into strength, and strength into freedom. Remember, Stoic discipline is not chains that bind you, but anchors that steady you, habits that shape you, and daily acts that make you unshakable. Marcus Aurelius once wrote in his Meditations, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." If this reflection gave you strength for your own practice, share it with someone who may need steadiness today. Let discipline ripple outward. And if you want to keep walking this path with me, subscribe to Stoic Wellspring. Each week, we grow steadier, wiser, freer, together. In the next reflection, we'll explore the Stoic art of resilience, how to rise after setbacks, to turn wounds into wisdom, and to walk unbroken through life's storms. Be well, be still, be free.